Hi, I'm Christian.
And I'm Angela, and we are married
And bored.
Hey everyone, welcome to the 20th episode of the Married and Bored podcast. Are
Well-
you happy to be here?
Yeah. Yeah, he says. Yeah, of course. It's been a while. We've been on our little summer vacation, just kind of taking things slow.
Slow and steady.
Living the dream. I don't know if that's true, but it sounded cool.
Does sound much better than our actual lives.
That's right. Well, we're here. It's episode 20, which is crazy. We've done 20 of these.
Yeah, we're coming up on, 2 months away from like our first episode ever?
Yeah, I think it was at the end of October last year.
Oh, so we're less than 2 months
Yeah,
away.
it's really gone very fast, and it's been a wild ride.
It has been. Thanks for joining us on this wild ride. We'll have to do something fun for that year.
Yeah, I think so. I
Time.
think we can do like a little retrospective look back.
Oh, wow.
Big words. I've been
Is
studying
that fun?
for me.
Okay.
Sure. I don't know if any of you guys will listen to it, but
You listeners are in for a treat. Okay, Christian, we're just going to jump right in. What is up with you?
oh man, it's been a while since we've been on a show talking about games. We're still playing games.
No doubt.
I'm still buying games.
Again, no doubt.
Yeah. So yeah, we've just been having a lot of fun. And if you know who I am, like one of my favorite things is just a new experience and new games. So one of the newest things that came this week was the Marvel Champions expansion, Rise of the Red Skull. So I got that,
Ooh.
I think it was yesterday. It came in the mail. And I was really excited to open it and just check out the cards. I'm not a big spoilers guy, so I don't go and look for the spoilers of the cards and then start dreaming about what deck I'm gonna make. I just go with what's there and then react to it. So it was really cool to look through those today. I'm in the process of putting sleeves on all these cards, and yeah, I'm excited to play this game. I'm also not excited to play this game at the same time, because we are kind of bad at it.
That's it's like a knife to the heart.
Catch 22 or something.
Well, if you remember, if you've been with us for the long haul, I think Marvel Champions was our 3rd episode.
Yeah, that's right. It was brand new.
So we've got this idea in the back of our heads to kind of revisit that and have it be, I don't know, maybe episode 21, maybe something in the 20s.
Yeah, a lot with it being a LCG through Fantasy Flight. Like, it changes constantly. Every month there's something new. It was a little delayed there because of like the big quarantine in May. It was
March.
May, but March and April kind of delayed everything. But yeah, so we finally got the first big box expansion. It's a campaign, so it tells a little story. And there's like little upgrade cards that you can add to your deck, which are kind of along the same lines of Arkham Horror LCG 2. So it'll also 2 new heroes. So you get Hawkeye and Spider-Woman. So yeah, it's gonna be fun. Are you excited for that one at all, or just kind of the same? Or
I think I would be excited if we didn't have some other new games that I'm more excited about,
okay, gotcha.
which I will talk about.
For sure. Because this one, it's new, but it's old, so it's not like brand new. Does that make sense?
Right. I'm not excited.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
No, I get
I
it.
just
You're
have other
kinda,
things that are first in my queue.
yeah, like when we get there, we'll get there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I've been excited for that. As for things I've actually played, obviously the game we're going to talk about this episode is Fort. We've been playing a bunch of that. I pulled the trigger finally and grabbed Sanctum, which is the Diablo-style board game. I've only played it twice, and I've had a lot of fun doing it, and it's pretty cool. It does a very good job of capturing the Diablo-style video game in a board game. So it's been fun. I've liked that one as well.
Yes, we've been playing a lot.
Yo.
So
What about you? What's up with you?
what is up? Okay, well, I have liked kind of playing a bunch of different things. So we've had kind of a consistent gaming night with one of our friends every week.
Hey, John.
And so that's been really fun because I'm sure he doesn't love this, but we get to play kind of a new game every time.
And for us, it's great because we get to experience those games most of the time for the first time with more than 2 people.
Yeah. And then between just Christian and I, we've been playing a lot of new games. We've played Fox and the Forest Duet. We've played Clank in Space. We've played Fort, which is this episode. We've played Mariposas.
Parks. We grabbed Parks. We found it at Target of all places.
Yeah. Well, our friend did.
Yeah.
But yes, we paid him back because we're nice.
We're cool like that.
Yeah. So we've been. I'm sure there's some that I'm missing, but we've been playing, quite a few different ones. We went back and did an Outer Rim kind of.
Oh yeah, we did a deep dive into Outer Rim, and that was one of the games we played with our friend John, and he gravitated toward that one immediately, and it's probably his favorite game, he said, which is pretty cool. I drag him through the mud a lot and make him play a lot of games.
Yeah.
And this is the one that he has said is his favorite.
Yeah. So we brought out Wingspan again, I think, a week or so ago. And yeah, so a lot of games have been coming to our table. I really, really am enjoying Mariposas. I want to refrain from saying much more about that because I'm going to pitch that as an episode to Christian over here.
Yeah, odds are we will talk about that one. We've only played it one time with John. Hi, John. And it was really fun.
Yeah. So other than all that stuff I mentioned, I guess I was going to talk about playing with the kids a lot more.
Yeah, you're on overload of a certain game. The kids have loved this game recently.
Yeah.
And I think it's because they're finally getting the rules and how to play it more so than they ever have.
Yeah, naturally, our kids are older than when we started this almost a year ago.
Right.
Would you say they're almost a year older?
Yeah, I would say that.
But also, this is just a game that's kind of accessible to them and their understanding. They don't always have the best strategy, but especially our daughter is getting more of the strategy of this game. So we've been playing a lot of Marvel United with the kids.
Yeah.
And me particularly, but Christian will join in every now and then. And yeah, that's been fun. I enjoy playing it with the kids. If it were just Christian and I, it would be too vanilla for me. It's too not enough going on, not challenging enough.
Sure.
But I think for the kids and I, it's just fine. It's fun. They love choosing their character. They love thinking about what to do, and they're thinking out loud. And yeah, so we've been having a lot of fun playing that, and we win more than we lose, which is fun.
Yeah, that's good. And they always, I'm working at home still, and they'll always run into my office and just yell, "We beat Ultron!" And I'm always just like, yes, great. And
Good job.
2 hours later, "We beat Ultron again."
And Mom's like, "Hey, do you guys want to do anything besides Ultron?"
I do like that game. I think it's really fun. I think the thing that it needs most is new villains, because that is what changes the game and the mechanics. The heroes are kind of, in a way, boring. They all have like 3 different cards that make them unique, but they all pretty much do the same thing. But if it had more villains, which it does with the Kickstarter stuff, I think it could be really fun.
Yes.
Even more fun, I guess I should say.
So that's kind of what's been up with me. That's a lot that I just talked about.
Yeah, I mean, well, we haven't recorded in a while, so I think it's okay. Hopefully everyone is interested in all the games that we've been playing. There's a little theme going through the games we played. Is just Marvel. Our kids are just really into superheroes too. Beyond that, like not TV shows, but like cartoons and movies and just toys. So I love it.
Yeah.
Maybe more than Angela does, but it's just been really fun to enjoy that with them.
Well, what are we going to talk about for this episode?
Yeah, let's jump into the main seg, I think is what they call it.
Is that what the cool kids are calling it?
No, we're going to talk about Fort, so stick around.
This episode is sponsored by Showit. Hey Christian, why do we love Showit?
Well, we love it because we are terrible at designing websites.
That is true.
And we were able to make our site using Showit in a couple hours.
Yeah, if you're stuck in like some boring website template, you need to check out Showit and experience what they have to offer. It's really simple. It's drag and drop. And our website, if you've never been there, is beautiful, if I may say so myself.
Yeah, we use Showit to make it, and you can get started for free. Showit.co. Check it out. Well, all right, we are here. We're going to talk about Fort. It's a brand new game from Leader Games, the creators
Shout
of...
out to Minneapolis,
Yeah, that's right.
Minnesota, or St. Paul.
That's right. The creator of Root. Mm-hmm. So we are really excited to talk about this. Andrew, why don't you just do a quick rundown of what Fort is?
All right, guys. Fort is a competitive deck building game for 2 to 4 players. Players are going to take on the role of kids who are trying to earn the most victory points by building forts, acquiring toys and pizza, which are your resources, recruiting friends to help them. Deck building aspect of this game just means that players are going to start with a certain number of cards in their deck and acquire, or in some cases lose cards throughout the game. So you're building your deck as you go.
Yeah, if you've ever played Dominion, that is a classic deck builder, and we mentioned that we just got Clank a few months ago, and that is another one that you might be familiar with. So this is like a very, well, I don't want to say small version, but it's much smaller. There's a lot less cards going on in this deck builder, but yeah, it's fun.
So, well, that's our 4th category, Christian.
Sorry.
He jumped way down.
I couldn't think of the correct transition. So fun. I was going to say, though, acquiring toys and pizza, like I'm still doing that in my life.
That's very
So
true.
I think that's great things to have as resources, because if you look around this room right now, you can't see a lot of pizza, which is good.
But there are a lot of
But there is a
toys.
lot of toys in every sense of the word. There's computers and video game stuff, and look right there, there's Star Wars action figures.
There's a toy. There we go.
So I'm gonna be good at this game.
Sometimes you never outgrow being a kid.
That's right. So let's just jump into our little 5 categories here and break it down. So Ange, what's the first category?
Our first category is the ease of setup and teardown, which is important to us as parents of younger kids.
Yeah, we have to say younger now.
They're not like toddlers anymore. So
No, because they're going to bed later and later. We have less and less time to play games by ourselves.
So now we usually play during the day, which is a whole different thing.
Yeah, and teach them as we go if they're interested.
Anyway, that's beside the point.
Sure, let's...
Ease of setup and teardown. Mm-hmm. Christian, what do you think? Is this one easy?
Yeah, it's super easy. Like I said earlier, there's not very many cards. You have little player boards that you pass out. You get little tokens to mark your points and your fort level, and you deal cards and you're good to go.
Yep.
That's it.
It's really simple.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the, I think we talked about this when we did our Watergate episode a few back. Usually an indicator of a simple setup and teardown is the smaller the box.
Oh, yeah.
It's not always the case, but this one is a smaller box.
Yeah, it's a very small form factor, and it's 1/2 the size of a root box.
Well, that's funny.
Mm-hmm.
Did you measure that?
I saw it on the internet. I can't say I did, but I saw it on the internet. Somebody stacked 2 root boxes on top of a one of the root expansions, and it fit perfectly.
2 forts.
Sorry, yeah, 2 forts on top of root. That's all these 4-letter words.
Root, fort, oath.
Yeah.
What's their other one?
Vast.
Vast,
Yep.
yeah. All the 4 letters. yeah, there's really not much more to say than what you already said, Christian. It is easy. The components are easy. It's just a little bit of shuffling and getting boards to the right people.
Yeah, and then I think what slows this one down, it's really easy to set up, but what slows it down is just us not really knowing everything there is to know about it, right? Like, it's not coming out as much because we just don't know everything. Setting it up is easy, but then beyond that, it gets a little bit more difficult.
How accessible is learning to play? This is our second category. Just how easy is it for someone to pick up and learn?
I think it's right down the middle. I think it's just medium easy.
Yeah, I think that. The more I think about it, I wonder if it's maybe very easy or more towards easy, but to learn, but harder to master.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
The rule book is small. It's, we mentioned the box size. So that's usually a good sign if you're looking for a game that's accessible to a broader range of game players. I think it took us about 15 minutes to learn.
Yeah, it's very simple in what you can do each turn. So you don't have to worry about different phases. Well, you do, but not so much as like, okay, phase 1 I can buy, phase 2 I can sell, phase 3 I can move, phase 4 I can fight. There's not so many things you have to worry about each turn. Your goal each turn is to play one card.
Or more.
But that's the core of it, right? Like, it's just play one card. You can add more cards to that one card if they match suits, which is something in this game. But that's it.
Right.
And each card has an action. And that's where the more difficult thing to learn comes in. There are so many actions, and they're all depicted by symbols on each card. And so learning all these symbols is very hard.
They have a cheat sheet, and honestly, like, I would in the long term, you'd rather have a symbol instead of text, I think.
Oh, no doubt.
Depicting what to do.
No
but
doubt.
At first, you're going to need that cheat sheet right by you every single
I don't think I will ever learn them all. There's some that are intuitive, where it's just like spend this card to get pizza. Okay, I understand that. But then there are others that are just much more difficult, where you can remove a card from the game, or you can remove this card from the game that you just played.
Or copying someone else's
pizzas
and toys.
Yeah, so there's a lot going on, and I'm very happy for the oversized card that has all of the icons on it. That card is big. It's like the size of 4 playing cards.
Yes.
Together. That's how many icons are on there. And it's like a really like cardstocky material.
Yeah.
So it's pretty fun to see.
Yeah, but overall I think you could introduce this to players who are not normal game players.
Yeah, if you don't know a lot about games, but you know maybe cards.
Yeah, if you know hearts,
Yeah.
you get the idea that there's a suit. And you follow suit.
And then it's just learning the actions, but everyone's going to be learning these actions because there are so many. So you have the cheat sheet, and you're good. Yeah.
How about the third category?
Third category, how immersive is this experience? This game it's called Fort, like we said, and it's about building a fort. One of the main thing that gets you points in this game is what's called your fort level. So you start with a level. You start at 0 or 1. I forget. I think it's 0. And you try the highest level you can get your fort is to level 5, and then it'll get you a boatload of points. So that's the main goal.
It doesn't mean you win, though.
No, that's very true. But that like triggers the end game.
Sure.
But as you're going through that process, like, do you feel like you're building a fort?
No.
No.
I was trying to explain this to Christian before we started recording. So I don't know if I'm going to have the correct words, but I don't know if card games will ever be as immersive to me as other types of games. So they can be somewhat immersive, but if there's like even Marvel Champions that we mentioned, it's more immersive than Fort in my opinion, but it's never going to be as immersive to me as like Robinson Crusoe or Star Wars Rebellion. And that's might just be a personal thing for me. I think that I don't really feel like I'm building a fort, but the things that do make it immersive somewhat are the tokens called pizza and toys. These are your resources. So instead of calling them resources, they're calling them toys and pizza because you're a kid.
And they call it stuff, right?
Yeah. Your pack or your stuff.
Yeah.
You have a yard where your friends hang out if you don't use them. And if I don't use my friends to help me build my fort, Christian has the opportunity to come steal kids from my yard to build his fort.
I can ride my bike down to your house and be like, hey, Zapper, or whatever one of the kids' name is.
Blitz.
I've got all this pizza over here, bro. Come build my fort.
Yep.
And he'll be like, yeah, that's dope.
So that's kind of immersive, this idea that if you don't use your friends, they're going to be out playing in the yard and someone else might come along.
Yep.
And that I like the idea that you don't ever have to discard your best friends because they're your best friends.
Yeah, that's true. Every player board comes with 2 cards that you cannot lose in the game. You
Unless
you can purposely trash them as an action if you choose, but everybody comes with best friends, and so you cannot lose them. They cannot be swayed to go to anyone else's fort.
Yes.
So you'll always have them, which is cool. I hope you have friends like that in real life.
Oh, that was sweet.
Yeah.
So there are things that make it immersive. It's not completely lacking in like a theme. There's definitely a theme. So I don't want it to sound like we're saying it's the least immersive game we've ever played.
Oh no, like the art is classic leader games. I wish I knew the guy's name who does all the art there, because I would say it right now.
Fill in the blank.
Art guy. But yeah, you see it and you know exactly. Everything is fun. It's whimsical. It's silly. There's kids that ride bikes and squirt guns and skateboards and book nerds and jocks and all that stuff that you would think would be in a game with kids in elementary school ages.
And Christian mentioned before, I don't know if this adds to the immersivity, but it just reminded me, the cards are so nice. You should like feel them. The cards,
they have a nice texture.
Yeah, they're just like a little bit thicker or something. I don't know what it is.
Kind of like the Wingspan cards. You can tell that they're just not regular bicycle playing cards.
Yeah. So it is a definite theme, and there's some maybe like added immersivity with the made-up rules that come along, because when you're a group of kids, you play games and there's always like a made-up rule
that's true, because that's kind of immersive. That's pretty cool, because everybody starts with the same rules, and then once you get to a certain fort level, you get to take a made-up rule which is specific for you, and it changes how you score extra points at the end of the game. So that's pretty cool. One of them could be having the most pizza, or getting 1 point per pizza,
or ending the game with no best friends.
Was that one of them?
Yeah, I remember I did that.
You did that one? Okay.
So I purposely trashed my best friends throughout the game.
Terrible person. Terrible.
Hey, no one wants to build forts with me.
Nope, you lost that game though.
I did.
Yep. It's because your friends came to my fort.
Oh, it's so sad. So it definitely has some fun pieces that suck you into the world of building a fort. But I don't know that I actually felt like I was building a fort.
No, there's no like giant narrative. There's no app. You're not watching a video like Lord of the Rings or Mansions beforehand.
Right.
And there's no like, you play like a Rebellion game, which is probably our favorite game, and you just know your head goes directly to Star Wars and all the crazy things that happens there. So there's like none of that, but in its own small little box, you can tell some fun stories.
Sure. Okay, well, Christian jumped ahead to this earlier, so we're gonna like now expand upon it. Christian, what's the fun factor here? Is this game fun?
Yeah. I don't know.
Oh, interesting. He's throwing a curveball, everyone. He said
Usually
it was fun.
usually I'm very yes or no on this one. But like I said, yeah, it's fun. I think at the core it probably is fun. But I'm trying to get there. I'm like stuck. I know it probably should be fun and can be fun and I want it to be fun. But every time I play, I feel like I'm just missing something. Like I'm missing playing it wrong, or I'm missing a mechanic, or I'm like, I don't want to just rush and build a fort and then it's over. Like I feel like there's something more going on to the game that I just haven't unlocked. Does that make sense?
It does make sense. I don't know that I feel it as strongly with this game as you do. Because,
Is there one that you would feel that on?
oh yeah, Marvel Champions.
Okay.
I constantly feel like, what am I missing on Marvel Champions? But that's another episode, folks.
There you go.
Is this game fun? Yes. The short answer is yes. It is fun. I like that it has some strategy, but it's also quick. So, it's a good combination of those two things. It's not just like this vapid, quick game that you don't need to use your mind or skill for, but it's also it has some layers, but it's not like a 2 or 3 hour game.
Yeah, we've really been enjoying the shorter experiences lately. I think maybe it's just the season of life, and like with school going back in session, there's just a lot going on.
Yeah.
So we don't want to devote 2.5 hours twice a week to play these massive games. So games like Parks and Fort, you can just throw out and play in 45 minutes, and you still get that deep strategy in a game.
Yeah. I also feel like just a little bit of what you said, like maybe there's some more stuff to uncover. It's funny because for you, feeling like that leaves you undecided about whether it's fun or not. For me, feeling like that is the fun thing. Like that there's more of a challenge out there, or something that's gonna, like an aha moment that's gonna come.
Mm-hmm.
But even right now, it's fun. I kind of play it differently than Christian, so we're noticing which strategies work best, and yeah, it's fun. It's a good one to. We've only played it 2-player, so it would be. I can just imagine what it would be like with 3 or 4 people around the table. It would be a different experience for sure.
Yeah, I would guess it would be slower, a little slower paced.
You would have a longer gameplay, yeah.
Right, but everyone has the option to follow the leader, so maybe it wouldn't be as short as we think, or as long as we think. Sorry.
Sure. Yes, but it definitely has. It definitely leaves everyone, I think, in a good mood. It's not combative.
Yeah, no, I don't not want to play this game.
Mm-hmm.
It's still an enjoyable time, and I think I probably do have fun, but I just am looking for more, maybe, or I was looking for more out of this one.
Yes.
I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
I hope I can find it.
But that's a good segue into number 5, our 5th category. Is it worth it? Is it worth it for you?
Yeah, I think so. I think there's, in a way, I'm slowly getting to the point where, with what you just said, where it is fun to figure things out. Like every time I've played it way differently. The first time I had no idea what I was doing. Second time, no idea what I was doing. And, in like the few times after that, things started to make more and more sense, and I realized, okay, so this is how I like to play this game, so these are the cards I need. But at the same time, Angela can probably figure that out, because it's just her and and she's smarter than me, so she'll probably take those cards.
That was so nice of you. I don't think I am smarter than you. But
yeah, so every time you play, it's a different experience, which for me, like I mentioned at the beginning of the show, that's what I enjoy. What about you?
Yes, it's for sure worth it. I tend to think of this very like cut and dry, like how many times have we played it versus how much it costs. So I guess that would be price per play.
Yep. PPP.
It's a less expensive game. It's like 30.
Yeah,
right?
it was a $30 pre-order, which is great. I think any game that's $30 that you play more than 6 times
Right.
is probably well worth it.
I like that every time you play it, it's different because you're just naturally going to draw different cards and build a different deck. I mean, you can, of course, have the same strategy, but you're not guaranteed that you're going to get the cards you're thinking about at the moment you need them. So you have to react to what's given to you. And I like that there might be a different made-up rule for you one time versus another. It's a quick setup, it's compact size, it's a short play time. So it definitely has a spot on our shelf in the future. We will play this game a lot. It will get a lot of use in our household.
Yeah, definitely. Because on those nights that we're just looking to play something very, very quick, but also
watch a show afterwards.
but also satisfying.
Yeah.
Like, we don't want to play something like, I don't want to say a game, but like just something where you're just like, yeah, just to play it. And like just come out of it like, well, why did we do that?
Right.
This has a little bit more layers to it than other games.
Yes, agreed. So it's definitely going to be played a lot in our house. We will come right back and talk about some thoughts or ideas that surfaced while we played this game.
Yeah, that was Fort. See you in a bit. All right, everybody, thanks for hanging in there with us. That was Fort. We hope you enjoyed our take on it. And if you played it, I hope you are having fun with it as well. Mm-hmm. Or are you having fun? Maybe you're like me and are just still confused by the game and not sure what you're going to do each time you play it.
Either way, we hope you appreciated our discussion.
There you go. So this next segment is one that we like to do. There's a lot of conversation and topics that pop up while we play games, especially when you play as many games as we do throughout the week. It could vary from what's your favorite game snack to whatever. So this week, something a little more interesting came up. Angela, what was that?
So we were, Christian was talking about this idea of like, I want to like it. I mean, I'm supposed to like this game. Because he had pre-ordered it and was just looking forward to it so much. And I thought, well, why are you pulling so hard to like it? Like, is it because of the hype surrounding it? And is it because it's made by Leader Games? So this idea of wanting to like a game because of the hype or the company that makes it. Would you be trying so hard to like Fort if it was talked about less and Leader Games didn't make it?
Yeah, probably not. I think the hype train. Have you ever heard that phrase?
Choo choo.
I think the hype train on this one was real for me. Like I still am excited for this game because I know there's potential there to have it be awesome, and it is probably awesome. I can't wrap my head around why yet. But Leader Games, I mean, Root is slowly becoming one of my favorite games. I should have mentioned this earlier, but I've been playing the digital version a lot. It came out on Steam a few weeks back, and so they released it, and you can do turn-based games with the 4 original factions of that game. And I've been playing that. I've probably played more Root games in the past month than I have played it like actually on a table, which is, and it translates really well. So it gets me excited for Root and Leader Games, and then they don't put out a lot of games, and so they're like, hey, we're doing Fort. It's about building forts and pizza and toys. I was like, yes, I don't care what it is, I'm in. Like, it sounds so fun. So yeah, I'm still on the train.
Yeah, there is something about that though, because we were talking about earlier, there's that game that Fort is modeled after. What's it called?
Oh, yeah. So SPQF.
SPQF.
Yeah,
That
so-
is not short for anything that we know of. It's just the name of the game. This is it's the mechanics of Fort.
Yeah, so Grant
Right.
Rodiak was the creator and designer of SPQF, which is very, very similar to Fort. And it was just, Fort is a re-implementation of, SPQF. And I don't know the story into why they got it and why they decided to change it, but I believe they're very similar games. Like, looking at the BGG page for the SPQF, I would look at that and go, no, I know that's not for me. I can tell by the pictures.
But slap a Fort theme on it and Leader Games title, and now you're super hyped about
Now
it.
I'm in. Like, let's do it. So, I think never judge a book by its cover unless it's Leader Games, I guess.
Oh, I totally judge games by their covers.
That's true.
I totally do. So, yeah, it was an interesting conversation.
Yeah, and I don't know if
But-
we have an answer, which is just funny because I'm just like struggling to be like, yes, Fort, go get it. Let's play it. I'll beat you. Because I don't think I can beat you. Although I've won the past couple times we played.
I was going to say you have one.
Yeah, I don't know.
I also think, like, the hype train, although you can take it to the extreme, but there's something to be said about that where you think, like, well, so many people like it, so what am I missing?
Oh,
You know,
definitely.
like, when you get a game and you maybe don't like it as much as you thought you would, you play it over and over thinking, what am I missing? Whereas if it weren't talked about as much, or maybe it was made by a lesser known company or a company that,
We don't follow as closely.
yeah, then you'd be like, oh, maybe I'm not fighting to like this as much. I'll play it twice. It's not, and I'll kick it to a Facebook group and try to sell it. you know?
Exactly.
But on this one, we're playing it through a lot more than we maybe would have. And the good part about that is that now we're seeing kind of the fun in it.
Yeah, I've won 2 different ways the past 2 times. None of them included building my fort to the highest level. Mm-hmm. I used other ways to get points in pizza.
Points in pizza.
Points in pizza.
Yeah. So it's an interesting conversation, and it definitely brings up the power of an established company, and it brings up the power of a good theme.
Yeah. And I think there's a reality, too, of this game and this company is that there's something funny about people from Minnesota in that they love, and I'm saying this as someone from Minnesota, and they love all things Minnesota. Like, we wear T-shirts with the shape of the states, and you know what I mean? Like, silly phrases like you betcha and all for cute and stuff like that. Living in Arizona longer than I have lived in Minnesota, people in Arizona don't do that. I don't think people in other states do that.
Well, Texas.
Maybe, yeah. And so, like, we're just like, these guys are from Minnesota. We are in.
We are in on whatever they make.
So we're like, Fantasy Flight, love it. Leader Games, love it. Chip Theory, love it, but it's too expensive. So I don't know if that plays into it at all, but I just think it's something that I was thinking about during this whole conversation too.
Mm-hmm. And to their credit, they've done so well with, well, I know they had Vast before Root, but they've done so well with Root in developing that world that we're willing to, this is too negative of a phrase, but like stick it out in a sense with Fort until we found the things we liked in it.
Yeah, exactly.
Because we were like, we know there's more to this.
Yeah.
We know that this company doesn't make bad games. But like those are the things we're thinking in our head when we didn't like love or hate our first playthrough. We were just like, oh, is that it? You know?
Yeah, because on the first playthrough, you got to level 5, and when that happens, it triggers the end. And we're just like, oh, You got to level 5, and I don't get to go again, so I have 7 points and you have 49. So I guess that's the end.
It wasn't that big of a disparity. But yes, so I hope that gives you some food for thought. And maybe it's something you've already thought about or noticed in other games that you've purchased. Like you buy something because of the company or the theme. And it brings up like Sanctum. You bought Sanctum because of Diablo.
Yeah.
And you love it more than I do just because of that world. And
yeah, it's probably not the greatest game of 2020, 2019 or whatever, but I'm willing to just play it because it kind of scratches an itch that I need scratched. So I think that this whole conversation translates into a good question to ask everybody who's listening to, which I'll bring up
in just a minute.
in just a few. Well, thanks again, everybody, for joining us for episode 20 of the Married and Bored podcast. My mind literally almost said Star Wars podcast.
Is this what you're hoping it becomes?
I know, maybe, but I was looking at those figures over in the corner. But yeah, so again, thanks for tuning in. We do have a question for all of our listeners, and that is from the conversation that we had about like the hype train. So is there a game that you've purchased in your collection that when you got home and after a few plays, you just were like, whoops, this one is not for me?
Yeah.
Because this one is a first for me. I don't, what's the word I'm looking for? Regret. I don't regret buying this game like we described earlier. But it's the first one where I've just been like, man, I thought there'd be so much more.
You're not quite there yet.
Not convinced.
In the way that you thought you would be.
Yeah, most other games that I buy, I'm like, yep, that's what I thought it was going to be. Mm-hmm. I'm good. Let's go again, or let's try a new one and then try it again later.
Yeah, and this question would be like different than just buying a game and giving it a shot. This would be like something you've been looking forward to. Like,
yeah, I was following this one for a long time, so that kind of played into it. So again, is there a game in your collection, or maybe it's not anymore, that you had and realized that it's not for me anymore, so you sold it? And
or it just wasn't what you thought it was?
Or if you have one of those for sale, give me a call.
You putting your number out there?
No.
Oh, okay.
Angela, how can they get in contact with us this week?
Yeah, so as this week and any week.
That's true.
You can get in contact with us on Instagram at Married and Bored. You can email us, hello@marriedandbored. And you can visit our website, marriedandbored.com.
Yeah, there's a contact form on there. Feel free to fill it out. Ask us any questions. Doesn't have to be the question that we asked you guys. But we love to hear from everybody. So, anything you want to say before we go, Ange? Any tips or words of wisdom?
Tips or tricks? It's hard. You're putting me on the spot. Mm-hmm. I have no tips or tricks.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah,
I would just quote Dave Muncy, a local weatherman. Watch your kids around water.
Hey, that's serious. Watch your kids. I'm sad. You're making me laugh.
I know. But yeah, we hope everyone's having a great summer, playing lots of games. We hope to start ramping this up again more often now that the summer is winding down and we're getting into our fall rhythms. So we're coming up on our year anniversary. Maybe fit one or two more in there. So stay tuned. Stay safe.
We'll see you next time.
Bye.
Thanks for listening to this episode of the Married and Bored podcast. And guess what? We have a website where you can listen to podcast episodes and so much more. Find us at marriedandbored.com, or you can email us at hello@marriedandbored.com, or follow us on Instagram at marriedandbored. Music in this episode is by Joseph McDade. See you next time.